we do not get emotional about business. We do.
She's making fun of me.
I'm not making fun of you. This is this is very serious. And this is why we get so excited about what we do and why we're here every Saturday. If you're just joining us, good to see you. This is Your Question, Your Money here on the Fox Business Network. I'm Dagan McDowell along with Tracy Burns. And Tracy's going to give you the phone number in a second. But Tracy, we have on, as our guest this hour, Tracy's idol in the fitness world. And we're going to hear about this incredible business that this woman has built over the last 20-some-odd years in the fitness business. You won't believe how it's expanded. And Tracy spends every morning with this woman in the dark. At 4 o'clock in the morning,
Rocky
5
style.
o'clock
There's
in the morning.
no light. It's like just the light of the TV. Rocky style in the garage. Remember when he was training in Russia? That's how I feel. 5:30 in the morning.
I'm excited. I'm excited. The phone number, let me give it before we introduce our special guest. 877-249-9626 is the phone number. You can call and talk to this guest. yourmoney@foxbusiness.com is
There
the
are
email.
other crazies out there like me.
You're not crazy. This is I'm very touched by this, and I can't wait. So I'm just going to sit here, and you can just take it away.
So
Tracy.
joining us is fitness innovator and guru Kathy Friedrich. Now, she's more than that, but she's the founder of Kathy.com. She's produced over 120 video titles, also partnered with Altus, a leading producer of fitness products, many of which I have to say I have. I have all of it. I have all of it. Ask me, call in, ask me. I'll tell you anything you need to know. And Kathy's just created this brand for herself. Of course, now spokeswoman for Eglin Best. Out there doing road trips. I love the road trips. People come in from all over to take her classes, use her products. But it really all started with you starting to teach classes.
Yes, I was. I've always been active my entire life, but it wasn't until I was 16 I took my first aerobic class at Elaine Powers Figure Salon. Am I giving away my age?
No, yeah.
It was great. It was a women's only figure salon. I took a class and I was hooked. I said, this is it. Like I said, fitness movement, I've always done it, but that moment on that set, taking the class, I said, I have to do this. Within 3 weeks, I turned around in there. They were like, you want to teach? I was like, yes. And from that point on, that's all I did was teach, 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 teach. And fast forward several years later, I was actually right here, Carnegie Hall. There was a fitness studio on the top floor, and I was teaching creative movement classes, and there were 16, 14-inch benches. They weren't the focus of the class, but they were used in the class. And here I was using them, and at the same time, Step Reebok was launching what is now known as the Step Aerobic phase to the world in the early 90s. And I said, you know what? I'm already doing this with these benches, but I can take the philosophies that I've learned as a fitness instructor with what they were introducing to the world, make it my own, and I see a great opportunity here to make a video.
So you made your first video in
1989, Step in Motion 1, and that launched my career. And it's just been a dream come true ever since.
120 videos later.
Yes,
all of which Tracy Burns owns, we think.
Well, I realized this morning that some of them I had in the VCR tape, so I had to convert them over.
I have to get you hooked up.
That's the beauty of what has happened. I've pretty much been following for a solid 8 years now, but you have transformed and pretty much gone from the VCR tape to the DVDs. The DVDs have all these premixes in them. I mean, you have capitalized on the technology, your social networking, to create this empire for yourself.
Yes, it's wonderful. We have a wonderful team. We're actually a small in-house production. We do everything ourselves. We have our own filming studio. We have our own web designer. We have our own graphic artist. It's just been a wonderful process. I have a business partner, Chris Williams. We've been together 20 years. Actually, this year we're celebrating our 20th year in business. It's wonderful, and it's just amazing. I would never have dreamed this. I did not see this coming, but step at a time, things just keep rolling out. Opportunities come our way, and we grasp them and go with it.
And you bought the gym in the process.
Yeah, did you start knowing and wanting to be as broad of a brand as you are today? And was it having a partner that helped you get to where you are?
Well, absolutely having a partner. Every person has their niche and their forte, and mine is talent, creating, choreographing. That's what I love to do. Of course, I'm a little bit business-minded. I don't want to sell myself short by any means.
Right.
But Chris Williams, my business partner, he handles the business end. I handle the talent end. We come together throughout the entire day, checking in with one another, making sure we're on the same page. We have our graphic artist, our web designer come in. We operate the websites daily. We're updating them constantly. I put tweets out every single day. Our consumers and our customers can see what we're doing every minute of the day. I'm active on our forums on our website. Our website is huge. It's one of the biggest out in the fitness industry. And we have the forums, we have Kathy TV, we have blogs, Facebook, Twitter. As you know, the social networking is huge right now. And it gives us an opportunity to go on their turf and talk to them. And they like that. You know, that's where their friends and families are. And you know,
Kathy, we just have to take a breath because we need to welcome our radio listeners. It's 6 minutes after the hour.
Okay.
Hello to Sirius and XM. I'm Dagan McDowell along with Tracy Burns. This is your questions, your money, your business on the Fox Business Network.
And for the next 2 hours, we focus on you and your entrepreneurial spark. So call us, 877-249-9626. You can always email us, yourmoney@foxbusiness.com. And we are honored to have here with us today Kathy Friedrich, this financial genius.
Oh, yeah.
So well, I just love, but I love because I am a voyeur. I've been watching, and you watch it from a business point of view, what you've done. And one of the
You're not a voyeur, you're a participant.
No, but I'm a voyeur on
You're
the
a
forums.
customer.
I'm a voyeur on the forums, and people write in all day long. I don't do it. She did tweet about us, I have to say.
Yeah.
But I love
yesterday.
you get this enthusiasm up for the next project. She does pre-sales. So people go, I did it, pre-saled for your next project. So you keep the enthusiasm going, you keep the people coming back, and that's how your business keeps growing.
That's exactly right. We're always promoting every tweet now. I kind of get on Facebook and Twitter a lot. That seems to be where a lot of people are. It's the way of the future, the social networking. But of course, our forums are very active. We update our blogs. We have a fan page and a home page where I have my profile. So we are a customer-based organization, web-based. We've always just operated mostly on the website and word of mouth. So we interact with our customers. We even have our own website, Kathy.com, for the products, but we even have the Kathy Nation, which allows our customers to create their own families and a family within myself. And we interact all the time.
Yeah. Kathy, one thing I noticed going through the website and your online presence, there are photos of you on there. There's a photo on the homepage, but it's not about you, really.
Right.
It's about, you make it very clear it is about what you do and what you help people do in terms of fitness. At least that was the sense that I got, and I wondered if that was intentional or not.
It's just always been my way. The bottom line for me, that my passion is to help others get fit. It's not about me, it's about us. And I always tell people, we are in this together. And I just view myself as a vehicle to motivate and inspire and take people to their next fitness level. It's wonderful that I've gotten out there and, of course, created a brand name in the process. But my passion is fueled by my fans and their ability to progress.
Well, speaking of which, somebody has a phone call for you. Do you want to take it, Trace?
Am I on too?
No, Elma has called in from Texas.
Hey, Elma, what's your question?
Hi, it's just to let you know, Kathy, I followed you I'm an aerobic instructor for 20 years.
Oh, that's
I
so
have
sweet.
followed you since. My classes have to do with all your step moves.
So you're robbing them.
You go take them, Elma. That's wonderful.
You are awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm 44 years old. I have 5 children, and I'm a size 5. So thanks to
Whoa,
you,
that
Kathy.
is wonderful. Elma, I happen to notice that you are from Texas. Not sure if you realize we have the Eggland's Best National Tour coming around, and we are coming to your city. So I do hope I get to meet you in person and give you a special hug.
Yes, I do. I'm keeping up with your Twitters on Facebook.
Okay,
so
great. Wonderful.
Elma,
make sure when you come to Texas, I'll go and see you there.
Hey,
I would
Elma,
love
do you have
that.
a
Thank
question
you.
for her? About business?
About business is just starting your own business and how to, promote it.
Well, actually, that's a good question. Like, how did you get into the gym? You didn't have the gym in the beginning.
No, just taught up through college, and then at the end, actually, Chris Williams, my business partner, was starting out with a gym, and we just stayed in touch. And at one point, when I realized I went to school for communications, which is wonderful, I'm using all of that now, but the field market at the time was oversaturated, and I knew fitness was my passion. So you always need to be in business with someone you can trust, and we had a wonderful relationship through college. I taught there, and so we partnered together and started a business together. And like I said, you know, I run the talent end of it. He runs the specific business questions and handles most of that. And
but you decided to open, I mean, because you mentioned Elaine Powers.
Yes.
Back in the day, I actually taught for Spa Lady. I don't even know if they still exist. Right? So there were all these fitness chains out there. You decided to go out on your own and not do the franchise thing.
Right. I did not want to. I've always maintained creative rights. There were many opportunities that came my way as I was struggling that were tempting to go for the easy, fast way out, make a quick buck. But I am always true to my integrity, and my belief is that I'm there for the customer at any expense. I mean, what I'm saying is basically I'm not going to sell out.
It's a control issue, too, isn't it?
Anytime the others come in, they want you to give up your creativity and adopt theirs. And I just never compromised my principles.
And we all know what happened with Elaine Powers. They went bankrupt.
Yes. And
that worked out.
You're sitting next to Dani Babb over here. Dani, you just touched Dani's heart and her with that, you know, keeping control.
Keeping control, yeah. And it's not just necessarily for control freaks either. Sometimes, you know, you're right. When you give up a piece of your business, other people want too much from you, or they want to change something that's already working. What I'm curious about is if you've considered on the gym component franchising it at all, or if that is also a control issue. And then when you got your first DVD out, how you got the message out about the very first one, because that's that's the question we get a lot. How do I get the very first product out there?
Well, I was lucky in the sense that coming into it, Step Aerobics was my first video, and there was really not anything step out there yet. And what I did was I went to I was a fitness instructor, and I worked the circuit for IDEA. It's an aerobic certification company. So while I was working the circuit, I went to one of their international shows, and I took out a booth at an expo to sell the first video that I had. And a funny story here, I got to the airport lost my display. It was $500 display. Now I get into the expo, and here comes Step Reebok with this $1 billion. And here I am with poster board and crayons. Step in Motion 1, $39.99. If you can believe we got those prices back then for the VHS tape. And because people were at that point just walking down the hallways. I mean, Step Aerobics was just being introduced at it was just its inception. So they're lining out all these steps. All these instructors are coming to learn about it. There were no videos out yet. And so here I am with a video product ready to go. People are still walking by, seeing the step set up, going, did you sign up for that? That's that new step craze. So when I get into the booth, even though Reebok was doing live demonstrations and all, I was actually there with a video ready to go, popped it in my little TV that I just put together, this crazy little thing because my display was gone. And little by little, people were like, oh my God, that's already a step video. It's already out
So it was
there.
almost instructors buying it.
Yes, that's how it pretty much started out, and I became known as the instructor's instructor. That whole thing, I mean, people were just gathering around the booth, totally in awe, saying, wow. I mean, I had a lot of whistles and bells with it, already had fun moves. They kind of use that as a staple of how to start
Yeah, because
teaching.
you are thinking old Reebok style step, which is like the military. I had that video. You could put a child to sleep doing that video.
Tracy's revealing a private conversation we had. I don't like step. I personally don't like it.
But you haven't tried it.
Again, if Kathy's as good of a salesperson as she appears, she's going to have me doing this by the end of this hour. Speaking of which, Kathy Friedrich is our special guest this hour. Please call or email with questions for Kathy about her business. I have plenty, but we want to hear from you.
Call us, 877-249-9626. You can always email us your money at foxbusiness.com. We have a ton more.
And more guests, too, who we'll introduce when we come back.
Hour and 45 minutes. We are the only business network awake, having a good time on a Saturday morning. Give us a call.
here to answer your questions about your business this hour. We want to welcome two more very special guests. Venture capitalist Andrew Williamson, director at Physic Ventures. And we're so excited that you're back, Andrew. It's great to see you because you're just so inspirational. And you're going to be fielding our pitch coming up later as well. We're excited for that. Kathy Friedrich is still here with us. Kathy, call in Kathy.com with an E. And call in with her and ask her anything. Of course, Dani Babb is here, as always, founder of the Babb Group. And John Rutledge, chairman of Rutledge Capital, a private equity investment firm, former advisor to presidents galore. I'll leave it at that, John. We sure you're here, but glad you're on nonetheless. Thanks for joining us. Do you want to get to a call quick?
We're going to jump out to Wisconsin. Chris is on the phone. Hey, Chris, what's your question?
Hi, I'm just thrilled to be talking to all of you, but my husband and I own a small, non-union, residential, industrial, and commercial painting company. We do provide health insurance, 401ks, and company vehicles, and we have about 14 to 25 employees. My question is, our marketing has always consisted of return customers and postcard mailings, but they're costly with the economy now. Could you give me some ideas on marketing and your opinion on lowering prices because customers are shopping and other painting companies are slashing their prices? And that's something we have never, ever done and have always have been advised not to do. So if you could just give me some advice.
John, you want to throw that out to John first? John, you want to give her some tips?
Sure. First of all, well, I'll leave the electronic marketing up to Dani. But regarding the pricing, it is a time when people are doing whatever they can to keep their own people busy, so they don't have to lay people off. So price cutting is an issue. I would do it, but I would do it carefully, because if you lower your price schedule, you'll find that it'll be difficult to get the courage to raise it in a year when things start turning up again. So what I would do is I would go after the marketing using e-coupons and other ways of giving discounts off your price that are only good now temporarily to keep the place busy. And have no fear, sooner or later, the world always comes back to normal. This one will too. In the meantime, you just got to keep busy and keep the cash flowing.
Kathy, we just talked about that, though. You pre-sale stuff. So you have up-and-coming product coming out, but you pre-sale it at a little bit of a discount.
Yes.
Which gets people like me to hop on board and buy.
Right. As long as that helps fund the project ahead of time. If we can get everybody to pre-sale and give them a better rate, then we can start with the project ahead of time, line up production, and get things going. And then, obviously, our thank you to the guests is to give them a better price.
And what about the bundling? She could bundle products. I know you bundle products as well, too.
And when
services.
Yes, and we're actually going to be looking into expanding our family on QVC for distribution, and then we'll be bundling our product and DVD together as well.
Dani Babb, market it for her. Market that business.
Chris, do you have a website?
Is she still on the phone?
Yes, I do.
You do? Excellent. Okay, well, first of all, if you don't already have lots of places where people can go in and comment on the work that your company has done, I would definitely add that, including pictures of the projects. You're right about the return on postcards. I've done that myself, and I had for you that drops the price a little bit, so you might want to check that out. But one thing that I did is I actually hired somebody to go out. I created my own postcards, my own flyers on my own printer at home, and went out and dropped them off underneath people's doors, company doors that were target market for my computer concepts business, which is a small computer consulting firm, also sort of a niche market. That helped a lot. Regarding price, I recently faced that myself, and I have friends who have contemplated that, particularly, dropping the price of books or dropping the price of their services. My advice to you would be, if you're going to do it only one time. Go right to the bottom line, new price immediately. Don't do it in stages, or it just looks like you're desperate as opposed to trying to compete. And then I would find people to partner with, that maybe other companies where they may need your services, and you can give them a percentage of the referral fee to bring in new clients for you, so that you're not just relying on repeat business.
And also, Chris, the mistake people make is thinking that their normal way of business is the only way of doing it. For example, if you're a painting contractor, you're looking for big jobs, you can go out to your former customers who probably don't need a big job, but you can do touch-up work and think of it as how to make $1 at a time, not a usual job that you get. And if you can just keep the cash flow coming in until things return more to normal, you'll be okay.
Keep it coming, keep trying, keep plugging ahead. All right, coming up, we got a viewer who wants to know how to find in an angel investor or another type of investor after I receive
contact those investors. Maybe they're not investing, but they maybe can refer you to somebody else, and try and go from referral to referral to referral to try and find the best fit investor for the business that you want to start.
Andrew, at what point, because people get caught up in the terms, what size, what is an angel looking for? What size investment? Also, how much of a business do you need to have when you go look for that kind of funding?
Yeah, good question. I mean, there are different types of angels, but generally speaking, most venture capitalists don't make investments less than $1 million.
Right.
Angels are up to $1 million. One of the groups that we work with a lot there are now bands of angels. So, for example, out here in California, there are groups called the Tech Coast Angels and the Keiretsu Forum, where groups of angel investors bunch together and do diligence on a potential company and then group together to invest in that company. And that's a great kind of group to be networking with, because then you get a bunch of experienced folks who've made money in their own businesses who can help you grow your business. So that's a great place to start.
Attorneys. Make friends with attorneys.
But isn't
that's a good place to start as well.
But John, quickly, isn't the bigger question, maybe you don't even need to go that route. Maybe you need to beg, borrow, and steal from family members first, or look inside and see what you have before you go out, because as Kathy said, then you're giving up a piece of your business, and maybe you don't want to do that.
Well, the most important question is to find a way to use as little money as possible so you don't have to have obligations to other people. That means you need somebody who understands your business plan to get in there and rip the costs out everywhere possible. But look, I'll give you another cut on the angel investor. Before there was institutional investment, venture capital funds and private equity funds, angel investors were just rich guys with money in your local town who backed your business. Most angel investing, first of all, angels have horns sometimes. They're tough guys. Angels are normally guys who really understand you, your local market, or the industry you're coming in. And you don't have to be a tech company to have a private investor like that. That just means finding someone who believes in your idea and your plan enough to help you get going. What do they want from you? They want a lot. They're going to want a piece of your business. They're going to want to make a big return, and they're going to want to feel good about it. So you need to be careful the deal you make, that after the business is successful, you can still get along with these guys.
We're going to take a quick break. And speaking of angels, coming up in the next hour, a man who started out with $700 and turned that $700 into a $900 million a year business.
And then some.
877-249-9626 or your money at foxbusiness.com. That's how you get in touch with us.
This is the Fox Business Network, the only business network that's coming to you live on a summer Saturday in true HD, and we are having fun. That is my favorite graphic on the network. I say it every week. I just think it's so
That's
cool.
okay.
I love it. Welcome back. This is Your Questions, Your Money on the Fox Business Network.
I'm Dagan McDowell. That's Tracy Burns, and it is time for the pitch. Today, our pitch is coming from Samuel Cochran. He is the co-founder of the SMIT.
Right, and it's hyphenated on the website.
SMIT, Sustainability-Minded Interactive Technology. He says he has a product that will lower your energy bills and not be an eyesore. I'm not going to give it away, Sam, but our venture capitalist is Andrew Williamson. So you're pitching to Andrew. He's out in California, but he's got his ears on. This is the type of investment that Andrew makes. So Sam, go ahead, pitch away.
Thank you. I'm here to present a very exciting product that's going to change the face of solar and wind power. Basically, we have developed and patented two different products, Solar Ivy and Grow. Both have the ability to really transform the industry. We have developed a team that is composed of architects, integrators, and people who have developed products that go into a broad retail market. So we've got a technology that in our first 2 years will be going towards architectural markets. So we're working with projects from different worldwide architectural firms, HOK, Grimshaw, and Lisa Architects, who have spec'd products for the next 2 years on different projects. Specifically, we have a project in India where we're looking at having this go across an entire new development there. So our product is not just this, but we have a few other products that they're going to fit the integrator and retail market. Our revenue in the next 5 years is looking to be approximately $30 million. And currently we have an angel investment round that's at $500,000, and we've circled $250K to basically take this manufacturing round through and meet those first sales. We're really excited about Solar Ivy and having it really skin the urban landscape and be a whole new way of experiencing solar and wind power. We're developing a few other products that incorporate other technology like LEDs and wind, which is Grow, which is what I have here. For the LED, the example is imagine Times Square completely off the grid. Right. So we've got a strong team and a proven marketplace with a product that's ready to go.
Andrew, it's all yours. Ask away.
Great. Well, congratulations, guys. I mean, I took a look at your Solar Ivy website last night, and I think you have a very exciting business there. And I can think of many ways that you could very profitably grow this. So let me start off with a ground-setting question, which is, at Physic Ventures, we look at a lot of these environmental technologies that are pitched at consumers, and they really fit into two buckets. There are those that are focused mostly on saving consumers money, so energy efficiency or renewable energies for reducing power costs. Mm-hmm. And I just made actually a very exciting investment in a company in your neighborhood called Energy Hub, who are also in Brooklyn.
Oh, great.
Who make devices that go in the home that reduce your electricity bills. So there, the value proposition for the consumer is very clear. It's buy our device and you'll pay less for electricity.
Yes.
Then there are other consumer green products, like say the Toyota Prius, which certainly save you money on your gas bills, but that probably doesn't actually pay for the extra cost of the car. So there it's a bit more about making a conspicuous green statement that you care about the environment, you're willing to invest in technologies to reduce your carbon footprint. So the value proposition for customers of those two products are very different. And I'd love to hear from you as a starting point, who you think your target customer is and exactly what the value proposition would be to somebody who's, say, buying Solar Ivy.
Absolutely. Our target customer in these first 2 years is really the high-profile architectural field. And so we're working on large projects where they're going to be installing solar or wind throughout the project, and they're looking to have Solar Ivy be kind of the showpiece and the unique attribute to the project. The value proposition that we're creating is twofold. I mean, it's that you're now able to show this product over the entire building and really exhibit it. And we've designed into the product a number of sustainable practices in the development and the materials used and how we've created this object so that the carbon footprint is as small as it can possibly be. And we've designed that in so that future iterations can exhibit that as well. That said, we're looking to always have the most efficiency in the price per watt. Currently, we're at about $20 per watt, which in today's market, typical solar is around $10 installed per watt. So we're at $20 installed. So we understand that we have a premium, yet we're having customers say yes when they would normally say no to an object. So they're putting objects on their buildings when they would normally not.
Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly buy that. So I think what I'm hearing from you is that the aesthetics is a big part of the value proposition, and certainly a lot of people don't like the look of solar panels. What I'm not quite clear on yet is how you're going to manufacture, distribute, market, sell, and install these products. I mean, so one of the big issues with, say, a typical residential solar is that, you know, it's a $30,000 or $40,000 purchase. You need a roofer to put it on. You need an electrician to go into the circuit box. It's quite a big deal. Is it, from looking at your product, is it possible this is something I could buy in Home Depot and just buy a few leaves to get started, and if I like the solar and what I'm getting from it, I could continue to expand it? Is that how you're thinking about it?
Yes.
Or is it just going to be channel sales direct to architects and builders?
Well, in our 3 different market channels, we're looking at the architectural field, in which case we would be directly doing sales and speccing the systems. So we have a certain number of customizable attributes of Solar Ivy that allow it to work on many different buildings and be programmed specifically to that building. The reason that you have to go through integrators is to set up the panels in the right orientation, make sure you're not having shadows on them, etc. So that's the initial market, and that's what we're doing in this next year. We've designed Solar Ivy in such a way that it easily translates into the integrator field. So we've got a very light system that can expand over surfaces of buildings. And so we've designed another system to work with integrators. So you can go to your integrator if you're a homeowner and talk to them and buy our panels. And then we're also creating, like you said, a smaller retail version of this to go into Home Depot and Lowe's that allows you to if you're, say, an apartment dweller, buy a small panel, supplement some of your power, and then expand, say, if you move or go into a larger place. And we're really excited about that because the urban and the apartment dweller has been neglected by a lot of alternative energies where you need a large space.
Andrew, can you give him a verdict? You're looking for up to $500,000?
Yes.
Up to $500,000. Can you give him a verdict based on what you've heard so far, or at least guidance?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll give you some guidance because I'm actually looking at a number of companies in this space and they're all struggling with exactly the same thing. So here's my, what I would be looking for if you came in to pitch to us for, say, $500,000 is, as you may know, right now, exits in the venture capital community are few and far between. There's not many IPOs and the number of acquisitions is down. So I would be thinking right from the very beginning, what's the end game for this investment? So are you going to be selling your product and your customer base and your IP and your brand to one of the established installers, such as a group like Solar City out here on the West Coast? Are you going to be selling this to a consumer electronics company? And depending on what the exit you plan to have is, I'd want to know, how much IP can you actually have here? How can you build a brand? And I'd be looking to see how much value you can create using our investment. So I think we'd have to talk a little bit more about that, but that's the advice I'd be looking for. Think about the end game from the very beginning and how do you build your business to create the most value at that exit?
Absolutely. We actually have partnerships with a number of different solar panel manufacturers that we would look to have them purchase or our IP and be able to take our brand and sell it on a larger scale.
Andrew, will you take a meeting?
Absolutely.
Terrific. Thank you.
Or at least give him, take a meeting and...
I'll do better than that. I'm going to be in Brooklyn for a board meeting soon. I'll come and see you guys. I'd love to see it in person.
Then we got to get you on set.
Yeah. Hello, Andrew. You got to come on the show. You just gave it away. We're waiting here for you.
There's a seat on the couch for you, Andrew. You better let us know.
So we just got to meet Andrew. Andrew's not going anywhere. You have to go. But Sam, thank you for being here.
Thank
Sam
you.
Cochran,
Congratulations, Sam.
SMIT, Sustainability Minded Interactive Technology. And the product is, what's the name? What did you call it?
This is Grow, and we have
Grow.
Solar Ivy.
Solar Ivy
is the
and
one to
Grow.
look for.
It's certainly much prettier than the solar panels that are out there right now. My stepfather, God love him, we put it all over the shed to heat the pool. It's the ugliest thing I've ever seen. This would be much, much prettier.
But Sam, best of luck to you. You have to
you.
keep us up to date. We will
Absolutely.
make sure that you have Andrew's
Thanks for
contact
having me.
information.
Thanks for coming back,
And
Sam.
thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you.
It was great to see you.
Woohoo! All right, well, remember, if you have an idea that you want to pitch to a venture capitalist, let us know about it, because it could be the opportunity of a lifetime for you. You tell us the product, and we find you the fabulous person like Andrew to potentially give you some money. So email us, yourmoney@foxbusiness.com, and you could be pitching your idea here on the air with us one of these Saturdays.
And we want to just remind people who the panel with us the rest of this hour. Andrew Williamson, of course, is staying with us with Physic Ventures. Fitness guru, entrepreneur, and Tracy's hero, Kathy Friedrich, is here. And, of course, Dani Babb and John Rutledge of Rutledge Capital are also here to answer your questions. Everybody, do we have a question that we can get to? Yes.
We have an email.
Trina, you want me to read it? Trina writes in, I have a friend stationed in Iraq working as a contractor. After going bankrupt years ago, he has no credit history and wants to buy a house. How can he repair his credit? Dani Babb?
He doesn't need to. First of all, Trina, please thank him for John, on behalf of John and I, for his service. We do a lot of work with the military, and we have a lot of advice, so he's more than welcome to email me, and I'll be happy to give him specific advice on who to go to get this loan. As long as his bankruptcy is at least 2 years old, he doesn't have to worry about it with an FHA loan. Just make sure that the home is under the median price, and it's not going to be a problem.
Good advice. We're going to take a quick break, but again, thanks to Sam Cochran. We had made him sit here before he answered that question. Sam, we will stay in touch with you, and don't you go anywhere. We still have plenty of time.
We got
Kathy
a ton of
Friedrich's here.
time.
Call for Kathy.
877-249-9626. You can always email us, yourmoney@foxbusiness.com.
The next hour, we are talking still about your business, but you're going to get advice from one of the richest men in the world, a billionaire who started with selling products out of his car, sleeping in his car, $700, and now he created not one, but two of the biggest brand names in the world. You're going to be able to talk to him in the next hour. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Your questions, your money, your business, straight to an email. Steve writes in, I have an invention that I submitted to 3 companies I found online. They all have a Better Business Bureau rating of A-, but how can I be sure these companies are legitimate? John Rutledge, if you have an invention idea, is this the way to go?
First of all, you cannot be sure they're legitimate, so don't think there's a way to prove it. The best way I know to reduce that risk is to find someone else who has done business with that company, who you trust, who will recommend them for business. I don't like the idea of cold calling on people and handing them the family jewels of your invention, and then hoping they don't take advantage of you.
Kathy, how do you do it? I mean, there's a lot of competition out there. There's kickboxing videos everywhere. There's products like this everywhere. How do you keep your stuff all you?
It's difficult. There's always people. You just have to stay on top of everything. We mine our website constantly, 24/7. I have people out there just looking at where the trends are going, making sure I'm staying on top of things. And then we give our customers a little more. And I think with the Kathy Nation and their ability to voice and stay loyal to us and develop our community, you know, we might not be the biggest out there, but our community is loyal. And word of mouth goes very far.
But do you find people rip off your ideas?
It happens at times, but you know what? It just makes me stronger. It really does. As soon as I see that, whatever idea, of course, I'm on top of my competition. I see what they've done, and I put my own spin on it, and I one-up them.
Yeah, you have to. You have to, right, Dani?
Dani?
Yeah, I wouldn't actually send my idea out over the internet to a company that I didn't know at all, even with an A- Better Business rating. One website you can check out is Ripoff Report. Even that is relying on consumer opinion. I would do exactly what John said and get an opinion, and a well-respected one from somebody who's been there and done that. Even on blogs and forums, if you get a lot of people saying they had good success, then maybe an in-person meeting, make the plane flight and see them in person.
On the phone. Do you want to go to the phones, Trace?
Let's go to the phones. Monique from Oklahoma is on the phone. Hey, Monique, what's your question?
Good morning. I am a big fan of the show, so thank you for taking my question. My question is, I operate a virtual marketing company, and I have been funding that business myself, but I'm starting to run low on funds. So my question is on obtaining funding for my business and the best way to do that with a service-based organization.
I have some new sources of capital from last night. Actually, I'm so happy that you asked this question. Oh, these note cards here. The America Recovery Capital ARC program that came out in mid-June is finally starting to filter its way down into the service sector. So I have 4 places that you should check out. First of all, the #1 lender in the nation right now to small businesses is actually Wells Fargo as of this month. But check out these banks. Check out PNC Financial and ask for an ARC loan. Check out Zion's Bank, ask for an ARC loan, Webster Bank, and Celtic Bank of Salt Lake City. These are all posted on my website at drdanibabb.com. Go to Forums, Raising Capital, go to the Fox Business section, and you'll see the list of these as well as the links to them. And also, I would make sure that you're trying to look for banks in Minnesota and Wisconsin. Those are the 2 top states right now that are still lending to small businesses. It might help increase your chances.
Andrew, you are a money man, but also you, with investments in businesses, you focus on how much can you cut in cost as well. I mean, it's a 1-2 punch if you're going to go out there and ask for more funding.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that we had a question earlier in the show about, how do we last, through this downturn in the business cycle, and should I cut our prices and things like that? And the advice we're giving to our companies in that scenario is, first of all, look to costs. I mean, the good news is that I think we have hit bottom, and we're starting to see a lot of our small businesses, their business is starting to turn up now, and some of their customers' credit is freeing up, and they're purchasing more products. So things are turning around. But yeah, looking to costs and really keeping a tight control on costs is my #1 advice right now.
Yeah, and you know what Andrew's saying, for the 7A loans from the second quarter of this year to now are up 55%. So even though in general small business lending is down, the 7A loans are actually up. So that's a good sign for small business.
Kathy, have we even asked you, how's business?
Oh, it's doing well. I mean, the economy has affected everyone. That's a given. However, we're in the self-esteem business, and we just get people to feel good about themselves. And I think when people are down and their jobs are going and they're just feeling down about themselves, they get very stressed and they want to feel better about themselves. So they'll come out to a health club or they'll purchase a DVD to just lift their spirits and feel better. So with that, we've been actually seeing an increase in business, and I'm very fortunate to be able to be saying that, and I'm very proud of that.
Because you've expanded in the midst of all this.
Yes, we've partnered. I have Fitness by Kathy line now. I've partnered with Altus Athletic. We have over 50 products out there now, which makes it nice because now just instead of just getting a DVD to work out with, you have access to products to assist you. I have a lot of equipment in my products. Sometimes in the DVDs we don't, but I like to use a lot of equipment because I think you need to shock your system, find different ways to do things so that your muscles are always challenged and you're constantly getting results. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Well, and for those of us that work out in the dark at home, it's a boredom factor, too.
Yeah.
You keep moving things around, and it changes it up, and I'm looking at this vest. I'm going to have to
And if you're
this
depressed
vest.
about the economy, exercise boosts your serotonin. So that's an even
right.
good, better reason to be using her product.
It's true, though.
It does.
It's true.
It's about half a dose of a typical antidepressant.
You know how fired up I get? Can you imagine what it would be like to work with me if I didn't run 5-6 days a week? It would be unbearable.
No, that is not true.
Oh, yes, it would.
But we're both fired up because we work out all the time.
That's true. And we like each other and we love being here. So in the next hour, we're going to keep talking about starting your own business, but really growing one and making it a success, making it through difficult economic times and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. 877-249-9626 is the phone number.
You can always email us, of course, yourmoney@foxbusiness.com. And if you got to run out, you can always listen to us on Sirius Channel 145 or XM Channel 168. We'll be right back.
Let it fly. Come on, baby, say it. Do you think I'm gonna cry? Ain't about to fall.
On the phone, we're going to go straight to the phones because we don't have a ton of time left. Jay is on the phone from California. What's your question, Jay?
Hi, good morning. Big fan, Kathy. I'm just wondering how, in your overall business plan, your endorsements, burgerage, product placement, things like that, kind of factor into your, your business.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
How your Jay, you can repeat that, but how you want to know how her endorsements factor into her own business and your product placement.
Yeah, when you see your show, there's lots of endorsements, product placement, burgerage, things like that.
Right. We actually, in the past, have not focused very much on advertising, and now we're going to leverage our brand name by bringing Altus in with us, and we have the Fitness by Kathy line now. This partnership has allowed us to bring more products and go into the stores. We're in over 1,000 stores now nationwide. We have the Eggland's Best Tour, which is now going to help get the name to brand, or keep our brand name and get it out more to the everyday American. Because right now, a lot of people know us, but we're a small, advanced market, but we're looking to leverage our brand name. So the inclusion of going on QVC, expanding our distribution, and also bringing the Fitness by Kathy line out there and into the stores nationwide, plus our Eggland's Best National Tour is going to help get the name out. Right now, like I said, we're smaller, but these endorsements are going to help make the brand name become more of a household name.
Do you have a goal in terms of the percentage of revenue you want that to represent in a year or two, a couple of years?
It's hard to say. I mean, we're always selling. Of course, the inclusion now of the products and things are going to make things really catapult to another level. With the Eggland's Best Tour, I mean, we're starting the first year with just getting the name out there and getting to work out with athletes nationwide. But the second year of our, what our goals are, is to go into print and ad campaigns. So you're going to really start to see me everywhere.
She said cathletes. See, she dropped that, but that's branding, though. Cathlete.
It's good.
Yeah, that's brand. There is everything that she does is branded.
Yes, it's the take on an athlete. I working out with me, you're a cathlete.
That'd be me.
That would be you. We do have some time on what you've heard this hour, words of inspiration, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, one thing that struck me is that we're seeing on the healthcare side of our business is that, even in this downturn economy, lots of the investments around keeping yourself well, healthy, preventing getting sick are doing really well. We're an investor in a pharmacy chain called Pharmaca that's been running on a slogan, in this economy you can't afford to get sick. It's absolutely true, and they're seeing sales of supplements and healthy food and products doing really well. So, I mean, there are some bright spots even in a downturn, and I think this hour of the show is really focused on some of those.
Give us some entrepreneurial inspiration.
Well, I get asked all the time, what would I do? I want to make a fitness DVD. It from behind the scenes. When you're out there watching a video, it is so different than being behind the camera and delivering it. And being a background exerciser is a good dose of that. Of course, it'll be a much different thing once you're the one conducting the workout, but it's still going to give you, if you can handle that, it'll definitely warm you up to the idea of this is where you want to go with your future.
It's a good taste of the business.
Yes,
say goodbye to her.
I can't.
You two are so cute. I love it.
I'm surprised you could contain yourself sitting next to your idol.
I'm going to get choked up, and my kids are going to make fun of me because they said, don't cry in front of her. Aww. I do 5 mornings a week. You, me, in the dark room, and I thank you.
Aww,
I thank you.
Thank you so much.
Kathy Friedrich, incredible inspiration, not only to Tracy, but our viewers today. Thank you so much for being here. You're welcome back anytime. And Andrew Williamson, thank you, sir, director at Physic Ventures. You too, please come back. We, meantime, aren't going anywhere.
Nor is
Your questions, your money, your business here on the Fox Business Network. I'm Dagan McDowell, along with my girl, Tracy Burns. She's recovering.
I am.
Kathy Friedrich.
That was big for
This
me.
is no joke. This is no joke. We just had Kathy Friedrich on, if anybody's just tuning in, and that's Tracy's fitness idol. But this woman has created a giant growing brand in the fitness industry, and
that's
it's
part of why I
inspirational.
admire so much, is that she's taken something that's, I mean, I could relate to how much she loves it, and she's just made a life out of it.
She's made a life,
It's awesome.
and we're here to make your life and your business better. One question at a time. That's what we're here about. Because again, you know, that's what America's about, is it not? Is it about? It's about being in power, taking charge of your life, doing something for yourself, your family, your community, giving back, running your own business, and providing guidance and inspiration and advice for anybody out there. You just have to pick up the phone and call us. 877-249-9626
And no
is the number.
more waiting for handouts from the government. I mean, you take it upon yourself, you do it yourself, you follow your dreams. DC's a mess. It will always be. Forget it.
And
But
still with us this hour, the fabulous Dani Babb of the Babb Group. Also, Jonas Max Ferris, co-founder of MaxFunds.com, who can answer, well, finance questions, but you've raised venture capital
life
money.
questions.
Life questions. You've raised venture capital money, though, so you've been through it.
Been through the ringer, yes. In multiple countries, I might add.
What do you mean, been through the ringer in multiple? Oh, that's right. You were one of the founders of the Russia
You
Fund.
should try
as well.
raising money to Russians with a translator in Moscow. That would be an interesting thing to do in your 20s. Moving on.
He's here with a plethora of advice, and also a world traveler. John Rutledge, chairman of Rutledge Capital, of course, is with us as well this hour. And
John was on the radio this week, weren't you, John?
Yeah, actually, I did a 2-hour radio show for Biz Radio yesterday, and I'm going to do one also 2 hours on Monday, which is 5 to 7 Eastern Standard Time. Stock market stuff.
Good stuff, though. John's good on the radio.
Well, on the phone is Charles from Oklahoma, who's called in. Charles, great to hear from you. What do you want to know?
Well, recently our business was damaged by a tornado.
Mm-hmm.
And with the downturn of the economy, it's a tobacco product business. And we were wondering if we really need to rebuild or if we need to just, go under.
Charles, what kind of tobacco products is it?
Cigarettes, cigars, and stuff like that.
So you just sell tobacco products?
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Tough business. My parents ran a wholesale grocery business, and that was the greatest source of revenue for them for many, many years was cigarettes.
Yeah.
John, what do you say? Because I hear, seeing what my parents went through, and I hear tobacco, it's a tough business to be in.
It is. I've actually been in tornadoes in Oklahoma. That's not so easy either. But, I think that you've really got the government against you and in your face now in the tobacco business. It makes it tougher and tougher and tougher. The decision whether you open up and fight again or close a business is probably the toughest one you ever do when you own a business. It's also possible, though, Charles, that you can open a little different business. Rather than a business that just lives on selling a tobacco product, you can change your product mix a little bit, or you can change it so that when people come there to buy a product, you have something for them to do while they're there, because these destination resort retail businesses are doing better than the product-only ones. But I really feel for you. It's a very tough thing, not only for you, but for your family, I'm sure, and it rips your heart out.
There's once a business story I think is relevant where there was a guy who wasn't that smart and he was a partner with somebody else and they had a shrimp company and some bad weather came through and they weren't doing very well.
Don't tell that story. I know this is a joke. And this is not
No, the takeaway is, do you have competitors that are also in the same problem from this weather emergency that their business might be better now if you stick it out? So I don't know if there's that many people left in the tobacco manufacturing or assembling or whatever part of the business he's in, but are you the only one who suffered from this incident? Going back to that movie, all of a sudden the shrimp
He was
business
talking about Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. There's an element of truth in that. I think if we can pull stories from movies, it's not always bad.
This is the comedy hour of the show.
No,
Charles, if you're still there, did you have insurance?
Well, that's what I was just wondering about is if this was the right move to make. If we are looking at different products to introduce them to the store when we really rebuild back, but we didn't know if that was the case. Should we rebuild or should we, just totally go out and look at another business? I'm an entrepreneur, and I think that maybe another business may be a better method to go with.
Well, I would follow your gut and your passions here. If your passion is still in this business, I've known people that have had to fall out of the business for similar reasons and then come back, and they came back stronger using the lessons that they'd learned before.
Hold on one second. Just 1 second, because it's 6 minutes after the hour, and we just want to say hello to people listening on Sirius and XM. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dagan McDowell along with Tracy Burns.
And if you have a question about starting your own small business or starting a business or anything entrepreneurial, email us, yourmoney@foxbusiness.com. You can always call us, 877-249-9626. And Dani, we cut you off.
It's okay. Charles, one of the things that's doing well in this market is places where people can escape from what they seem to think is a bad life. And so if you can reinvent this company and perhaps create a club or an environment where people can go to unwind and relax. I know, Midtown is a very bad example of the rest of the country, so please don't take this the wrong way. But those clubs and lounges here are the cigar lounges, the cigarette lounges, and so on are actually doing pretty well. So if you could reinvent your old business and bring in your past passions into a new one using your previous lessons, that may be a good place to go. If you have something that you think is a better idea that you're more passionate about, maybe you're just tired of the other one, then maybe it's time to pursue something else. But I would listen to your gut.
Was this a good business before the storm? Is the caller still on?
Charles?
He lost.
He's gone. That's a question. That's a very good question. But I can, Charles, if you're still listening, I can tell you from my parents' decision, what Dani was saying is innovate and change if you want to pursue that business. And you mentioned that. That's something my parents failed to do and chose not to do. They realized that. They realized it at the time that they had gotten so far behind the 8 ball that they just weren't able to catch up. And they made the decision. They ended up selling the business. But again, it's a tough decision, and it's a personal one as well. It's not just dollars and cents.
Don't give up, though. All right, let's go to an email. Lewis writes, I'm new in sales. I want to promote the great energy-saving product. Is there any way to link with green groups or businesses?
Dani Babb.
You can online, absolutely. The Go Big Network has blogs and forums specifically for this particular area. But I would link up with people in Northern California that are into the energy movement and so on, and also check out grants.gov, which, although it doesn't sound like you're looking for a grant, there are lots of resources in there that will help you steer in the right direction and get into some forums and start networking with some people in this arena.
The interesting thing about what the business is trying to, and I don't know, it could be what it is, but there's a lot of supply of available readers who are interested in that. What I mean by that is there's hundreds of websites that are related to energy savings, be it fan sites for hybrid cars or just being cheap and saving money on your utility bills. So there's a lot of places to go to advertise a product like this. Some products don't have that already out there. It's difficult to find an audience. In this case, it would be cheap and easy to target somebody who is energy conscious. So I would recommend going to those sites. And they're not... It's getting cheap now to advertise online again because of the glut of supply. So organize a deal, put an ad on a site that already has tens of thousands of users who are energy conscious.
I mean, John, it seems to me like these days you just say it's green and you're selling them.
Or not.
Well, yeah, of course, there is a big audience out there wanting to buy it, but we really need to know more about what Lewis's product is that he's trying to sell in order to try and target it to the right customers. And then you get to the affinity groups that both Dani and Jonas are talking about, and see what you can do. But it's a question of the product as well.
Green is hot. Does it make economic sense, though? That's one thing.
Well, it doesn't matter necessarily if you're selling something that people want to have. I mean, there was another green boom in the 80s.
This is before I cut you, this is what Andrew was touching on in the last hour that it falls into two groups: the products that actually save people money, and then products that don't, and so much, and it doesn't matter, like the Prius,
like the Toyota Prius.
There's products that save people money that no one wants that you can't sell either. I mean, you're actually better off having a demand and an interest by the audience than necessarily the most wonderful mousetrap ever built, because you need an audience to buy it at the end of the day. And this is a case where there is an audience to buy it right now. Again, I don't know what this product's like or if it works or what it is, but the audience exists.
Well, speaking of products, you want to get to this email?
Steven's got an email for us. He says, I have been awarded a patent for special sports product, and I want to use this as my stepping stone to start a new business. How can I do that?
Wish Kathy was still here.
Yeah,
we can call her, get her on the phone.
This is a tough question from Stephen because we don't really have enough information to know where to go from here. But in general, once you have a patent, I'm assuming it's not just a provisional patent, but it's a full patent. Once you have that, you're going to find out, trying to figure out, do you want to sell it or do you want to produce it yourself? If you want to sell it, it's time to get out there, start promoting it to companies, have them sign non-disclosure agreements and show it to them. But if you want to manufacture it yourself, it's time to find a manufacturer, and that's something that John can help with. That's one of his areas of expertise.
Hit me, John.
Sure, there's plenty of places to get things produced. What I would be wanting to know is this a product that needs to be sold through retail distribution chains, in which case you need a lot different kind of help and support? Or is it one that gets sold directly to people, internet, infomercial kind of things, in which case you need to go to a different kind of a guy? But the sports industry is a heavy user of the infomercial distribution channel. And they're basically $50,000 and a good idea, and you can give a product a try.
Got to get it out there.
I mean, I would say with the patent, I would try to sell it, even if it's kind of a half-ass effort, because if it's a really good idea and you have the patent and you've tried to sell it and can prove that, if someone kind of knocks it off, then you can make money that way. And you'd be like, look, I got the patent, I'm selling it, I got a store on the internet. And Spalding has ripped off my super tennis ball idea with the ultra compound that makes it go twice as far when you hit it. And that's a business in itself, in which case you'd want to eventually get legal counsel. But you might at this point want IP intellectual property legal counsel to see what is the best way to go about selling this and not get ripped off in theory, or to make offers to competitors. It depends. Do you want to be in the business or do you want to be an inventor? That's really business is different than inventing something. Requires having staff, management, et cetera, raising money. People don't always want to do that. They're good at inventing the next Thigh Master. So decide.
And you can do both. Neil Saki, who's been on from Zero Motorcycles, he builds and makes these electric motorcycles, but he owns patents on a whole host of products, including the battery, which he designed for the motorcycle. So you can do both. A full hour, well, almost 45 minutes of your questions coming up. And we are going to have our special guest joining us about the bottom of the hour. Should we tell him who it is? Billionaire, genius in business, John Paul DeJoria is going to be with us. So get your questions ready for him.
Big hair chicks everywhere were using his hairspray in the 80s.
And now they're...
on the hair.
Gordon, yeah, I know.
What was the hair?
That's the misconception about big hair chicks. Everyone thought it was Aquanet. It wasn't. It was Paul Mitchell.
So John Paul DeJoria, the founder of Paul Mitchell, also Patron Tequila. He will be here with us at the bottom of the hour. Meantime, get on the horn.
877-249-9626 or email us yourmoney@foxbusiness.com. This is the only business network having fun on a Saturday, answering all your questions. Welcome back to Comedy Hour here at the Fox Business Network. Your questions, your money. We're having fun.
You're so tickled you can't even speak. We are fired up and happy and tickled to be here with you answering your questions.
So far, the greatest show I think that we've done.
I'm surprised that Tracy has even speech left.
I know.
Kathy Friedrich left.
I'm
Tracy
stuttering.
speechless. Well, I will let's go to the phone. Let Steve talk. Steve has called in from California with a question. Steve, go ahead. What do you want to know?
Hi, I've developed a car seat, full impact car seat, and I've been calling trying to get in the door to some of these bigger companies. And I'm not really having any luck, and I'm just wondering if
car seat?
Oh, it's a full impact car seat with wheels like a suitcase.
So it's for children?
Yes, it is.
And it has wheels, so does that mean you could take it out and wheel the kid like through the airport?
Yep. Just pull it out, put it on the ground, pull out the handle, and pull it like your luggage.
Because they do have something like that out there already. So what makes yours different?
It's a full impact. It breaks away so that you can take the wheels off of it, use it as a car seat. It has a front guard, and it has the wheels. And to my knowledge, there isn't anything like that.
But Steve, now don't hang up because we're going to toss it out to everybody. But you've been approaching the car makers about this. Who have you contacted? You don't have to give us names, but car manufacturers?
No, the car seat manufacturers.
Right, okay.
I've contacted a few of the big ones.
Right, that's what I...
So that's like Graco, Britex, those guys.
Right.
Yeah.
I misheard you. That's why I asked you to repeat that. Thank you for that.
Is your goal to sell the product, Steve, or do you want to be in business and own this thing?
I'd like to sell the product.
You like to sell the product. Okay, have you already created a prototype?
Yes, I have.
And you have a patent?
I have a provisional patent.
Excellent. Okay, what I would do, first of all, is write up a very quick sentence. You want this whole thing to be one paragraph, okay? So write one sentence on what's out there in the market, and then write 4 sentences on how yours is entirely different, and then I would directly call the research and development directors at companies. Go there if you have to. I've talked before on the show that I've done that myself, and I sat in the lobby until it worked, and it did, but it takes some serious perseverance. And then I would also contact, if you can get the consumers to start demanding your product, since you're pretty well protected already. So if you could talk to parent groups and get out there online, show people what your product is and why you must have it, you can bring to these companies pages and pages of testimonials from consumers that will ensure the Gracos and so on that this product will be purchased. And there's interest there. So I would try to get it. If you can't get it from the top down, go from the bottom up and try to get the consumers to.
What about the police officers in your town? Because what they do by me is that you can bring your car to the police station and they'll make sure the car seat is in properly. And if you get the endorsement of your local cops, that's a great way to get that product out there as well.
Well, one reason why this product is actually difficult to sell yourself is it's not 80 years ago in America. I would imagine, not knowing this business, there's a lot of approvals and regulations to make this marketable to the public because you're talking about children in a seat. It could be a great idea. The patent office does not guarantee its marketability or its safety necessarily. They're just doing, to some extent, what Dani said is its uniqueness against the state of the art out there. So this could be a very expensive product to go sell, unlike, say, the inventor of the sports equipment maker. I will also say, not to be scary, but you need to prepare for a potentially long battle. There are examples of one of the examples in the automotive industry, which is one of the worst industries if you have an invention, is the guy invented the high pressure on a radiator that lets the pressure out and lets you have higher pressure air inside your radiator. He invented that something like 20 or 30 years after the industry started ripping him off, essentially. And only much, much later did he eventually win and get actually hundreds of millions of dollars out of the auto industry. It was a whole lifetime of battle. So if someone knocks you off, which in some ways is good because it means it's a good idea, you might not see money for decades. So you got to be prepared for that as well sometimes.
John, what should his next step be in your mind?
Well, the thing that makes this a difficult project is that I'm quite sure that a car seat is going to have components that need tooling in order to create. So you can't just make 25 prototypes, send them out in the market, get it used, and then bring it to the product. Because tooling to do manufacturing work can sometimes be $100,000 up front. So I think you do have to find a way to prove that there's a market off the design. And the critical issue to me would be whether this is a technology innovation, a patentable technology innovation, a new spring, a new restraint system or something, or whether its main difference is a design difference. If it's a design difference, you're not going to find the protection you need to get it picked up by people. So I wish I had a wonderful solution for this, but it looks like a difficult one for me.
Right. Yeah, and actually, that's a good point, because like I said, there is a product similar out there. So, all right, as we go to commercial, we got to give a shout out to our radio listeners on Sirius Channel 145 and XM 168.
Coming up, Well, we have time for more answers to your questions, but also an update on somebody who was on this show just a few months ago pitching his business to someone, how it's growing. You will hear about that when we come back. Welcome back. Your questions, your money, your business, and we keep up with the people who've been on this show, and because we want to hear from you if you've been on and pitched your business. We want to see how your business is growing. So we have an update on a pitch that we took a while back, and let's take it. We can see that is Jordy and Sherry Sopern.
Of the governmental bailout.
Let's just listen.
And we broke it up into a series of different ideas.
That is Bailout the Game. And Jordy and his wife Sherry came up with that game. And here is how his business is doing. Jordy wrote me about a week ago. So Jordy has hired a corporate sales representative who is currently negotiating with a few large chains. The couple has also found and are negotiating with several sales representatives groups to get their games into retail stores around the nation. They're reviewing their contract with Books A Million, and a few online stores have also confirmed that they want to carry the game on websites in the next month. And the first shipment of the games were sent out this week.
Rock and roll.
Bailout the Game. It was a really incredible game. And it's, again, it's not just one game, because there was so much outrage over the bailouts, the financial bailouts last year. Jordy, who's an architect, decided, hey, we can make a game out of this and make it fun. And we looked at it. It is an incredibly fun game.
And there's somebody who's going to benefit by, if the bailouts actually last longer and longer, everyone else complains, but their business is going to grow.
Well, we actually discussed that when he was on the show.
Then he could do the deluxe version and things like that.
Didn't Monopoly start in the Depression? It's kind of... has a similar history.
So, again...
That's very true, I think.
Danny, what do you make? Because, again, it's heading in the right direction.
It is. It's timing and creativity. They've coupled the two together, and they have a great marriage. So, one of the things that's been fantastic to watch them, I've stayed in pretty close contact with them, and they are using social networking to the nth degree, and that has been one of the primary ways they've gotten their word out. But they've also been on the street calling these companies, explaining what their product is. They revamped their website. I think it was about 2 weeks ago. They have a killer website now that's very interactive, which is a big key to having people become more interested in the product. Here's a good example of what the website looks like now. And
bailoutthegame.com.
And you can interact on the site. So they've done a phenomenal job. They've really taken it out there. They're doing great. I have no doubt this is going to be a great success.
Can you play the game on the web yet?
I believe you can play parts of the game, but you cannot. You can't play the entire game.
That could be the next way to go.
They just reworked that website, by the way.
Yeah, and it looks fantastic, and it's informative.
Liberty Street Games is the name of the company. Bailout the Game. John, get in here.
I love these guys. I've been in contact with them too. They were the real deal when they're on the show. They're doing everything they can do. And to make a business successful, you can't view it as a job. You have to attack 24 hours a day. That's what our friends at the Bailout Game have done.
They are. You saw the list of things that I went through about how they're attacking this from all different angles. Those were their two daughters, by the way, playing Bailout the Game.
I think it's genius, though. I mean, you could use it in a classroom. There's unlimited roles for this thing.
You weren't here that day?
No, I missed it.
Jonas?
I really don't think government classrooms are going to want this game in their game.
Yes, they will.
Private schools? Private schools?
My kids go to Catholic. I'll bring it in.
This is where our taxpayer.
It's very entertaining. I know, and these investments, these investments by the government, they're not disappearing anytime soon.
Exactly.
We're like,
it'll be around. It's good stuff.
Board games.
All right.
Okay. Remember, if you have an idea that you want to get in front of an investor, a venture capitalist, you just have to let us know. We will bring you on television. We will put you in front of a TV camera. We don't care where you are. If you're in New York, great. If you're somewhere else in this fine nation, that's good as well. You just have to tell us what it is.
You got to wear clothes.
Email us. yourmoney@foxbusiness.com. yourmoney@foxbusiness.com. Actually, you don't need to wear pants if you're via remote.
And if you're on XM and Sirius, you don't need to wear clothes at all because that's radio.
I'm sorry.
The brilliant.
We'll
Did you talk about wearing clothes on that show too? Did I miss something here?
I've heard they need the ratings.
How about some calls and email?
Seen those stocks lately.
877-249-9626 is the phone number. Keep those calls a comment. Also, the email address.
Your money at foxbusiness.com. This is the only business network up having a good time on a Saturday. You got about a half hour with us, so get on the phone or email us. We'll be right back. Took us 2.5 hours to get him, but we got him. Joe from New Jersey is on the phone. Hey, Joe, what's your question?
Hi, thank you for taking the call.
You're welcome. What's your question, Joe?
Okay, in order to, if you want to patent a product, an idea, and you need to research it and find a manufacturer and a marketer, how do you protect the idea without someone?
Anybody, so literally a monkey could take your idea, could take your pieces and your parts and put the product together using exactly your step-by-step instructions. That's what's required to get the patent. Once you have that written down step by step by step, you file for a provisional patent online, which buys you 1 year. Don't take it around and market this thing until you have that provisional patent. It only takes a few weeks to get it. Once it's patent pending, you have a lot more protection. Then you go out and you talk to the people who you could potentially market with, partner with, and sell the idea to.
Wait, let me repeat that. USPTO.gov or Google.com/patents. Those are the two places to start doing your patent search.
I'm a little... that, I guess, to find out if it is a good idea, but that's where you lose your idea and someone could take it. Generally, what you would do as a company, it's a little more expensive, is you hire attorneys who will do the patent search for you and then will file it. And all that, they're under binding. They can't steal it or sell it to other customers.
You can do it yourself, is what Danny's saying.
You can, but you can screw it up yourself, too. I'm just saying, generally, companies hire people to do this.
Keep your trap shut and search it online, is what
It's a good place to start. You'll save money because if you find the same thing, you might spend a lawyer $10,000 to do it. But expect to spend $5,000 to $30,000 to do it right, is all I'm saying.
Danny just said,
totally
don't do
disagree.
That.
Yeah, I mean, no, I completely disagree. I get hundreds of emails from people who do this successfully every week, and they do it themselves. And if you really
have they protected their patents
yes,
against
they have
threats?
Protected their patents.
Themselves.
And if you and if you really, I don't care if you buy it. If you really want to, it's not Fantasyland. If you really want to use an attorney and you want to do it on the cheap, go to LegalZoom and pay the $500 to $700, not the $5,000 over here. That can give you someone to talk to, but don't go out there and spend thousands of dollars to do this. You don't need it.
Well, the thing is, most people don't have those thousands of dollars. So right. Those are most of the people watching the show. So we've got to find a way to help them. Look, Joe, you're in New Jersey. New Jersey is the headquarters of American Standard. American Standard owns Trane Air Conditioning. Trane's one of the biggest sellers and producers of these things out there. So if you won't find guys in a company like that that'll look at your product because they worry about you showing it to them and then you suing them later on. But you will find guys who used to work as executives in companies like that who you can approach and say, is this a good idea? If it is, they can arrange someone inside a company to talk with you after you've got those provisional patents. But you have to find a way to get to the people in the market, and it won't be in general through the officers of the company today.
Great ideas. So listen up, everybody. How do you take $700 and turn it into a $900 million a year business? Create a brand, make that two from scratch that become household names? Here's a man to tell you how to do it, because he did it. Back with us, John Paul DeGioia, the chairman and CEO of the John Paul Mitchell Systems and owner of Patron Spirits, the maker of, Patron Tequila, a man who embodies the American dream. John Paul, it is so good to see you. Oh, what an incredible view. The only thing better would be you being here with us.
Right.
John Paul, it's so great of you to be here. One quick thing, John Paul, is Patron now bigger in terms of annual business than Paul Mitchell is?
Yes, Patron is much larger. It's the #1 ultra premium tequila in the world. We hit a real home run with this one.
How do you come up? What's next, I guess? People want to know, how do you come up with these ideas? What are you looking at now? What's next? Or are your hands full?
Well, I think between Paul Mitchell and, of course, Patron and John Paul Pet, we have our hands full, even though we are in many other areas, such as natural energy, solar, wind, hydrocarbons that don't pollute the land, things of that nature. But our main companies, of course, are Patron and Paul Mitchell. And the way we come up with them, if you wanted to know. Sure. Well, let's take Patron. Paul Mitchell's underway 9 years. I'm sitting around at my home with a friend of mine drinking tequila, and we do the usual kind of hold our breath, sip it a little bit, and put it down, and thinking, oh my God, couldn't we just find one that you could just drink without having to hold your breath? So we went down south in Mexico in search of the best, and we found one really close. Sent a mixologist down there to make it a little bit smoother in this old factory that was making it. We did make it smoother, and I thought, well, what the heck? I'll bring it back. Well, back in 1989, they weren't ready for a $35, $40 bottle of tequila because most bottles were $7, $8, $9, $10, maybe $15 for premium. So we thought, what the heck? We'll do this unique packaging. It'll all be in recycled glass, recycled paper. It'll be the best there is. Because it's so expensive to make, it's only Highlander agave, we may have to sell it for $35 or $40. But you know what? We think the United States is ready, and people are ready to treat themselves. So we got 1,000 cases, 12,000 bottles. And I thought, well, if it didn't sell for 10 years, everybody I knew for any holiday would get a bottle of Patron, whether it's a baptismal, whatever, but you got Patron. It did take off. People were ready for that high end. And if you look at today's economy, if I might be able to mention on that.
Oh, please.
In today's economy, the spirits business is off double digits now. It's down, it's not up. But Patron is up double digits. Now, why is that where others are down? It's because when you go for premium, the best of the best, you cannot downgrade. I'll give you an example. If people are used to drinking a $25 vodka, let us say, okay, a medium price vodka, a good one though, at $25. Well, during hard times, they could get a $10 or $12 vodka. The taste isn't that much difference. But if you take Patron and you go from Patron to a $10 or $15, even $20 tequila, it's just not the same taste. It's not even close. So because Patron has that very unique high-end taste, and of its purity, you can't duplicate it with something cheaper. So you can't downgrade during hard times because you want to treat yourself. You don't want to say, I want to get something a little cheaper. So people want to treat themselves during tough times. Now at Paul Mitchell, it's a little different. At Paul Mitchell, not only do we make great products, people make great products. We make what we think are some of the best, but so do our competitors. But why are we up when our industry is 30% down? The reason for that is service combined with product. You could have the greatest product, but unless you make the salon experience, when someone walks in a salon that uses and carries Paul Mitchell, unless that experience is a great experience, there's nothing special going on. So part of the Paul Mitchell education to salons is how to give a good salon experience to your customer coming in along with a great product. And as you know, if you ever see Paul Mitchell in any drugstore or supermarket, it is counterfeit or black market. It's only sold through salons and guaranteed there.
But that's the beauty of your brand. You've created this brand. And look, let's face it, both products, the Patron and the, I have to say I use the hairspray, are not going to keep me from making my mortgage payments. So yeah, while things are tight, I can still treat myself with both of these products and feel really good about myself. But I just quickly, I know that our viewers have heard your story before, but I just have to reiterate it because it dumbfounds me. You were homeless twice. You were basically raised by a single mom. You and your brother alone growing up. You busted your butt. You sold encyclopedias at one point.
Greeting cards, delivered
Door to door.
newspapers, among other things.
But one of the quotes that I read from you recently that just stuck with me is that the biggest hurdle you faced was rejection, and how that has made you a better businessman today because of that.
Beyond any question of doubt, whether you're selling newspapers at 11 years old trying to get subscriptions door to door to deliver more papers, or you're selling encyclopedias door to door without appointments.
And talk about
people are
rejection.
slamming doors in
I'm
your
sure
face.
you got the door
that's
slammed in your
rejection.
face.
Yeah, I tell new people starting businesses, the biggest thing you've got to be ready for is be prepared, totally prepared for rejection. You're going to get a lot of it as long as you're prepared for it. And it means this: on door number 11, you're just as enthusiastic as you were on door number 1, even though 10 doors were slammed in your face. And that's not an easy thing to do. But that's the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people. The successful ones do all the things the unsuccessful ones give up on. In other words, if you believe in what you have, whether it's a service or a product, and you believe strong enough, and you talk to enough people, son of a gun, someone's going to listen and someone's going to want what you have.
John Paul.
We did that with John Paul Pett.
Well, plenty of people have listened to you, that's for sure.
And we will be listening to more of you, John Paul DeJoria. We're so excited you're here. We will be right back, everybody. You can call, email. We're talking to John Paul DeJoria. You know his name. You know his brands. You will get his insight when we come back. $1 billion a year brand. Oh, and then started another one in the late 80s that is now even bigger than the first one was. We're talking about John Paul DeJoria of Paul Mitchell and Patron. John Paul, I was reading something that you said about in the early years when you and your partner founded Paul Mitchell, that you faced bankruptcy multiple times, just over and over again.
Oh,
and it's
my gosh.
a question that we get asked all the time, though. When does somebody make the decision to say, goodbye, I'm going to move on, I'm going to shut this down and pursue something else? What kept you going? People want to know about the decision-making process and your story.
Right. What a great question. When we started this, every week for the first 2 years, we should have declared bankruptcy. We were behind on our bills. We were barely making it. We should have declared bankruptcy. Barely made it, but we didn't. The reason we didn't, and the secret about sticking it out, was we knew that if enough people were recommended the product, we had no advertising budget, but enough people used it, we got it into enough hands that they would like it and reorder. We wanted to be in the reorder business. We knew we only started with $700 and it was all uphill, but every single week maybe we'd sell an extra $200 worth, an extra $3,000 worth. There was always a little something extra. Instead of paying our bills 2 weeks late, maybe they were only a week late or 4 days late. It's those little teeny wins that gave us the success to go ahead, even though we were always behind. But it took 2 years in order to actually pay our bills on time. So seriously, if you look at when you start a new business, the little teeny successes that get you ahead. Example, when we started John Paul Pett, we did it for our dog Jack. When we developed these products, he no longer scratched, and he used to scratch before. The bugs don't get him anymore. In other words, there's little successes along the way you see in any business that you start that keep you going. If you forget about the little successes, then you don't look at the whole picture. You got to see the whole picture, but count the little successes along the way.
But doesn't it have to come
It's a cinch
from,
by the inch.
Doesn't have to come from your heart, though. You have to believe in that product enough to be close to bankruptcy once a week, to be living out of your car at one point, even once the product was launched. Like, you have to live and die for this product.
Oh, you have to. But you have to. In order to do this, the only way you could do it is if you know inside Your product or service is the best it possibly could be. There was no doubt in our mind that Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care products were the best for the hair, and hairstylists knew it, no doubt in our minds. And with Patron, there was no doubt when anyone drank it that, boy, this wasn't the best tasting tequila, and you didn't get a big hangover the next day. You felt really, really good because we knew it was the best. And again, it's the same with a service as with a product. It keeps you going, it keeps you directed, and it keeps you focused. But it's your heart that's got to go along with it. So your heart's got to go along with the idea and the product or service.
Well, on behalf of big hair girls from New Jersey back in the 80s, we could not have done it without you and your product.
And we couldn't have done it without you. We could have never done it without you.
I don't know why
we
you were
needed
close
you.
to bankruptcy. We were buying it by the cases back then. My goodness.
But John Paul, you knew how good the product was, not just from your heart and your gut, but also because one by one you were introducing it to salon owners. And so you were getting that instantaneous feedback, and you knew that if you reached a certain scale, you were going to be okay.
You got 100% because you can't fool the experts.
Right.
And the biggest expert on what you should use on your hair is a hairdresser. So they give us the complete feedback. We had that encouragement. And it's the same for any of your other listeners. If you business, you start selling a few things, go back to some of the people you sold something to, a service or a product, and ask them, how'd you like it? Why did you like it that much? What can I do to make it better? And if you're satisfied, pass that satisfaction story on to others.
But Dani, that's also something that Kathy mentioned to us. She was the expert to the experts. He's selling to the experts. You get the experts behind you. You can run with it.
Yeah, and part of the story, too, is exactly what we talked about in the last hour, which is the bottom-up approach and getting people to ask for it at the bottom level, which will eventually, it's going to pass on to the hairdressers. And, you know, one of the questions that I have had is how you continue, once your business is stable and growing at this sort of pace and at this level, what is your feedback mechanism now? It's not you know, standing in the salons asking these salon owners what they think and the hairstylists what they think. So what sort of feedback loops do you use at this stage in the business to keep things moving along in the right direction?
Great question. Some of the products we originally made are still some of our best sellers. We make products that good. But what keeps us rolling is we continually come up with ways to assist salon to make the experience in a salon more of a fun experience for the customer. For example, we make products now that are very technologically advanced that dry faster than normal products. Shampoos and conditioners, for example, for big, thick hair called Skinny, that technologically are made to dry your hair faster, smoother, and kind of bring it in instead of all the way out like this. Products that start eliminating heat damage. So they're fun products. Products you could see technologically work different than anything that was around 3, 4, 5 years ago. So it keeps our line very exciting. How do we take what we have and make it better? How do we make the salon experience unique with the salon? How do we help our customer, the salon, run a better business and at the same time promote and use Paul Mitchell products properly? So it's always thinking, what does your customer need, and how do you make your products more unique and better for the customer? Never be complacent, never just go on what your winner was, make it better all the time. By doing this, you keep very enthusiastic. Patron, it's just good. It's good. You know, but you know, we came out with this platinum a few years ago, which was just a little better than our silver or the other one. But anyways, that's what we do. It's just the best there is. You try and make it better. The only couple ways we can are to make more of an advanced one or one that's been aged a little bit longer. But so it depends on what business you're in.
Well,
but we're fun.
That's John,
fun.
You without saying anything, John Paul, you send the message of why you got to where you are, why you are a billionaire, why you have these two brands, because you are a good salesman and you have an infectious spirit that make people want to be part of whatever you're doing.
But it is evident how much you believe in your own product. You're practically giddy about it, and that is, I think, that entrepreneurial gumption that keeps you going.
I love them. I love Patron. I love John Paul Pitt. I love John Paul Mitchell Systems. Great company, great people. The people I deal with, I love the industries. But also, I want to share another rule to success. Once you start making it, success unshared is failure. I feel really good about what I do. I feel good about the money I make, but I share a lot of it all over the world
you
in so many ways to help the environment, children, people, homeless, keeping wells afloat, saving forests. I mean, we do a variety of things.
Well, we'll touch on
that. our culture.
John Paul will touch on that when we come back.
Yeah, let's talk more about that because you do and dumbfound me on how much you give back. But let's right now remind people that if they have to run out, they can listen to us on the radio, Sirius Channel 145 and XM 168.
John Paul DeJoya, some final thoughts when we come back. An inspiration is among us, John Paul DeJoya. John Paul, we don't have much time left, but you were talking about how important giving back is, not only money, but time. And leave us with that final thought.
Giving back of your time or just giving back wanting nothing in return is one of the greatest awards you could ever get. We have people, for example, at John Paul Mitchell Systems that go to the beach every so many weeks and just all of them go down there just to clean up the beach, wanting nothing in return. But our companies, whether it's taking the homeless and giving them a chance of getting jobs again or feeding like we do 8,000 orphans every single day to give them a chance to survive, we have found in life that part of our culture with all of our companies is giving. The more you give, asking nothing in return, the higher you're going to get in life. Success unshared is failure. If you grow and build and help the planet become a better place to live along the way, you automatically have a full business and one you want to continue to look forward to. And that's a big secret. Share along the way, don't hoard it all. And by doing this, you'd be amazed at just how your life grows. We do maybe 40 different charities between our companies and ourselves every single year. We turn down 15 or 20 a week. You can't do it all. But we do enough that we spread it out to make sure the environment, our planet, and our people are all better off because we were here and because Patron Paul Mitchell and John Paul Pet is out there making a difference on this planet. It's our culture. When we started John Paul Pet, the whole idea behind it was to make great grooming products where most all my profits would go to helping out animals. Boy, was I excited about that, saving animals, helping shelters out by building a company for animals with most of the profits going to those animals. Very, very excited. So once again, it's a motivator in life too. And if you don't have any money, volunteer. Pick up a piece of paper as you walk by a trash can. Smile at someone. People say, God, what can I do to change the world? I don't have any money. I'm not involved with any kind of a charity. How about you wake up in the morning and you smile at the first three people you see? Hi, howdy, how's it going? You know, I mean, you can change the world like that. Make people happy. Change the world.
You've changed our world already there. My goodness. Well, you alone are an inspiration. Dani, want to throw us some final words?
Absolutely. And about 20% of the entrepreneurs that email John and me are veterans, and that's one way that they have severely given back to this nation. And they're having a really tough time out there getting funding. Over the next week, we're going to be doing some significant research to help them. So you can check out our websites. We're going to be posting what we find that people, for banks and so on that are specifically helping veterans. And I'd like to spotlight one every week that's out there trying to gain funds. This week, it's mypamperedpoochusa.com. This is a 24-year retired Air Force veteran trying to raise funds to run her business. And I think that's one of the most honorable ways that we've ever, one of the most honorable things we can do to help give back to people is help our veterans.
And John Rutledge, what we should point out, John Paul DeJoya is a veteran. He was in the Navy.
That's very true.
That's right. Yep. And I'm very active with the Special Operations Force Fund of the United States to help those from overseas that kind of put their asses on the line for our way of life. You got to support them. They went there to put their lives out there for you if necessary. So they deserve all the support, and we give them big time support.
Yes, they do. John Rutledge, give us your last final thoughts.
Last thought is that you have to really mean it to be an entrepreneur. It's not for a tourist. But don't give up. Go out there and get back in the game, and the world will improve and the markets will be better.
Jonas, quickly, you got 15 seconds.
I think the most interesting takeaway from what I just heard from Paul Mitchell is that there's a difference between going down a path of bankruptcy with bad ideas that would lead you and actually having a product that he knew was good, even though he wasn't paying the bills. You know, the cash flow wasn't there. At the end of the day, he's making quality, saleable, marketable products, and then he's extending himself into similar distribution channels like liquor stores or, like, in a weird way, hair salons where you ask the expertise of the person to point you in the direction of a good tequila.
John Paul DeJoya, we cannot thank you enough for being here. We hope to see you very soon.
Peace, love, and happiness.
Dani Babb, John Rutledge, and Jonas Max Ferris, and Tracy Burns. We will see you Monday.